Hi, welcome to another episode of TakChek or PekChek.
I'm Weiren,
I'm Nicholas.
and together we are an education lifestyle podcast where each week we do a topic and we decide at the end of the day whether or not it is interesting, which is
TakChek
or frustrating, which is
PekChek.
right. So for today's program, we're going to be discussing something that has been an institution for a very, very, very long time already, for quite a number of years. But I think in recent memory, right, at least for us, right, this didn't exist when we were in school. So we are talking about none other than the IP program, the integrated program.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think most parents and most secondary school kids will be familiar with this by now. Okay, so the IP program is a 6-year program where if you do very, very, very well for your PSLE, you can make it into what we call an IP school. So for these IP schools, essentially, students from these IP schools do not need to take their O-levels, and then they have direct admission to the JCs, right? So I think there are just a few of these IP schools. Nicholas, maybe you can share.
Sure. So
which JCs?
for these IP schools itself, we have Cat High and St. Nick as well as SCGS.
Yes, they funnel to
Eunoia JC.
Eunoia JC.
All right. We have Nanyang Girls that will go to Hwa Chong. We have Hwa Chong Institution Secondary that will
also
go to Hwa Chong.
Yeah.
All right, so RGS and RI, Raffles Girls Schools and Raffles Institution that will go to Raffles Institution, the JC one. All right, we have VS Victoria that will go to Victoria JC. SIDA Girls that will also go to Victoria JC. All right, Dunman High, National JC, RV, River Valley and Temasek Junior College, they are 6-year program. So you enter there as Sec 1 all the way towards J2.
But these are not, so these are just the IP programs that skip the O-levels to make it straight to A-levels, right? But there are other kinds of IP
so
programs.
So these other kind of integrated program, they are a little bit rarer in the sense that not the masses actually aspire to be part of them. All right, so we have your IP IB route. So Sec 1 to Sec 4, you will be in these IP schools. All right, we have 3 schools right now that offer this IP IB route.
Yes.
I'll be very specific. IP
to IB, yeah.
All right, International Baccalaureate. All right, we're talking about ACSI.
ACI, yeah.
MGS, Methodist Girls School.
Yes.
And the last one will be St. Joseph Institution.
SJI, yes.
So the other one, all right, and there's only one school that offer that, is actually the NUS High School of Mathematics and Science, the diploma version of it.
Yeah.
Right, so the remaining two that you just mentioned, IP, IB, as well as your NUS High School Diploma, a little bit rarer. Most of the conversation today will probably be focusing on the IP A-level route from there. So, we probably over the many years that we're in this industry, we have taught students that are doing IP.
Yes.
So, what's your general sentiments when you're dealing with IP students?
Let's just talk about the students themselves. Okay. In general, I think in general, right, the IP students come across to me as just we're talking about like the secondary school side. So the IP students come across to me as just being maybe a slightly higher ability O-level student, but otherwise they are pretty normal. Right? I get the feeling. There are some IP students which are really, but these are very, very rare. But even in the O-level track, right, we once in a while get these very, very rare and brilliant students, right? So there are some IP students as well that are super duper intelligent, and it just takes them like this for them to understand a certain very, very complex concept. So to me, it doesn't seem as if the IP students really have an edge in, I don't know, in terms of like natural ability over the O-level students, right? It follows the normal spectrum.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do empathize with what you're saying. I do also, however, feel that IP students, the nature of how they're being taught in school is just the pedagogy in engaging IP students is actually quite different from O-level students.
Yes.
Will you agree that there's a little bit more degree of spoon feeding for the O-level track students?
Yes.
The IP students?
Clear. That much is clearer. I think IP they have more time and more space to do more weird things like do project work get them to do presentations The one bugbear that I have, because for our center, we usually cater mainly to
O-level students.
Right? So if they are IP students, they can join us. But again, we cater mainly to the O-levels. So what I believe is beneficial for the IP students is that usually for the IP syllabus, because they don't have the O-levels to work up to, they will spread out the syllabus over a longer period of time. So they end their syllabus like a lot later. Okay, but at the same time, they also have their exam a little bit earlier. Right? But the O-level students, because we want to give the O-level students a sufficient buffer to consolidate all their knowledge, right? We finish off the syllabus as early as the first quarter of the year. Okay, so how we usually sell this to the IP students is that you finish your syllabus already, then after that it will just be revision for you lah. So you treat it as revision, and then you're gearing up with the rest of the O-level students, which will also be beneficial for your IP exams in the schools.
Yeah.
Right.
And also to add that we are also catering to the A-level students as well. And for IP O-level, for the listeners that's not aware, there is often a time that your year 5, year 6, which is the equivalent of JC1, JC2, the topics are being brought down, maybe diluted a little bit, and is placed into your IP year 1 to year 4 for them to learn ahead. So we do cater to them by having materials and videos as available from there. Okay, but this is where...
I don't want to say I have one bugbear for physics, right? So in A-level physics, and this, I used to teach in an IP school. For A-level physics, there are some topics that are not taught. For example, like light.
Okay.
So the IP schools, right, generally, because they see that, because this topic is not taught in A-levels, they don't teach it in O-levels.
Okay.
Yeah. So I do know of students, right, that they go up to A-levels, then they completely have no idea like what is light. But what the schools don't understand is that it's not that we don't test, it's that it's assumed knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not that we don't teach, it's assumed knowledge.
Okay.
So I have some students that go up to, some IP students, they go up to me for A-levels, right? Then when I teach them A-level, they don't know how to do like the refraction sin I over sin R formula.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they were not being exposed
to it during secondary school. So I think this is something which I have a very big gripe about. But maybe this is just a physics specific problem, because there are some topics from secondary school to A-levels that are specifically cut. Because I don't know, do you have the same experience for chemistry and bio?
If I use biology as an extension of that, in secondary 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the IP students, I think one of the topics that is usually being brought downwards is this topic called respiration as well as photosynthesis. Okay, so O-level have their own version of respiration. So very simply put, it's talking about mechanics of how your lungs and diaphragm is moving to take in air, how when you're exercising, you are going to accumulate lactic acid. Very, very simple equations, very logic. But when the A-level version comes across, well, that's when the whole biochemical pathway starts to come through. You have to learn plentiful molecules, talk about how your phosphate move around molecules to generate ATP, which is the energy currency. Now, however, A-level does have respiration. All right, as whatever I just said, the very complex biochemical pathway. I'm just wondering that bringing this down into a Sec 3 student life, like, how is that beneficial? And yes, some of them are quick to catch, all right? They catch certain patterns, they understand the biomechanics, but most of the IP students that I were to provide tuition to them, it's just, I don't like it, I have to do it, I'm just going to memorize. So this comes back to the whole original conversation of these IP students that much different from an O-level students. They just happen to do better than the O-level students, but does that mean that their maturity is a reflection based off their
So your main bugbear is the higher level stuff being brought down. I think I know what you mean, because quite a few years ago, a long time ago, I was teaching O-level chemistry. So I actually saw one of my IP students' notes, and then they actually brought down like all the atomic orbitals and
SPDF.
Yeah, the SPDF orbitals. And I'm like, wow, I dropped my H2 chemistry because I couldn't understand this. Then now you want to teach this to the O-level kids, right? And I think, if I were an O-level kid, right, If I were an IP kid or secondary school, 15 years old, then you show me this, right? I'd be like, what the hell?
You'd be terrified, right?
I have no idea what the hell is going on.
So the thing is that I feel for the IP, okay, let's talk about the merits of the program. That we do for our O-level kids, we have A Math and E Math. Yes. Right? But I know that for IP, they call it as integrated math. So it's like a bao ka liao, one shot, one math topic.
Actually, there are some schools that they split it also lah, but they disguise it and then they call it and brand it something else. They call it Math 1 and Math 2.
Okay.
Right? So depends on the school. The school has more autonomy over how they want to teach lah.
And also they have integrated humanities.
Yes.
So I believe I stand corrected that for IP students they do have social study.
Yes.
Because I think this is one of the O-level cohort, the social study aspect of their humanities.
So I'm going to ask you a very juicy question.
Good.
You think this is a good thing or a bad thing?
Do not have social studies for IP. Wow, this is going to have fire off artilleries and all. I feel that social study, in my opinion over here, is it can have it as a non-examinable part. And this could probably be inspired for O-level cohort as well, because I think social study, there has been students who have told me SS doesn't stand for social study, it stands for Singapore studies.
Okay.
I've been told like that. All right. And I have also been told that the support that is given for social study is usually very bare basic. So from my previous workplace, I do know of a social study tutor. All right. I ever attended one of her lessons, just being a curious colleague. Wow, the way that she broke it down to like the various levels of analysis and answering, wow, it's not easy, you know. I mean, you have to go up to, if I'm not wrong, all the way up to level 4 for you to get a certain degree of marks. And the way you write, the way you phrase, the way you frame your answer has a lot of inclination on what levels you'll be awarded from there. So I feel like social studies should be more on, I feel it's like about some historical basis. You learn about Singapore, you learn about some of the other neighboring countries. I feel it should be more of like a, I don't know, in our time we call it as a civics and education.
Okay.
Yeah, C and E. That's how I feel. All right.
Okay. I think I take a different view.
Okay.
I personally feel that social studies is something which is needed.
Needed.
Because I don't know what you remember of your own social studies, but I remember specifically, right, being shown like caricatures. Right, and then being asked specifically like, oh, is this a reliable source? Is this source biased? I remember learning about all the different conflicts in Sri Lanka, the IRA, happening in Northern Ireland, I think. What other conflicts that I learned about? A few others. Okay, so I think this is, number one, good for like increasing general knowledge. And number two, I think this helps develop critical thinking, right? And these are skills that the students need for when they go up to JC, they need it for GP.
Yes.
I think English is not the natural or the higher level version of English, right?
It's not GP.
It's not GP. I think the higher level version of social studies is
GP.
Yeah, okay. GP is the evolved form of social studies, not English.
But the final form of social studies should be KI already, right? Knowledge.
Yes. That one is the ultimate form
of it already.
That's the...
All right. That's interesting. But you know, even in in the IP A level, they have this thing known as a CID, construct, integrate, differentiate, which is a holistic learning kind of program. Right, so within there you have your projects, all right, and that's where you train your teamwork and the critical thinking as well as research skills that I think O-level students have very, very minimal exposure to that. And I think the IP program can do all that because it is
got more time
There's more time and there's no O-level. There isn't like sort of like a goal that they need to satisfy at the end of the 4th year itself. Which also brings me to thinking that if IP really have that much a degree of autonomy, I think something that you and I have discussed quite a fair bit of is that if they have a 6-year program, let's use NJC, TJC, all these RV, Diamond High, those 6-year programs, I generally feel that you don't need 4 years for O-level.
Yes.
For the O-level program.
Yes, I agree.
And I feel that you definitely need more than 2 years for the A-level program. All right, so if I have that complete autonomy, if I'm in a 6-year program, IP A-level schools, do you think that whatever we discussed before, the 3-3 instead of a 4-2. You think it's a little bit...
I think that would be better. Like we follow the Japanese system or the American high school system, right, where they split it into middle school 3 years, then high school 3 years. Yes, I actually feel that if you do it like that, right, the pacing will be better, right? So your Sec 1, Sec 2 like can be like sort of shortened a little bit. Then Sec 3, Sec 4, the content can be brought down to like maybe part of it can go down to Sec 2.
Yeah.
Right. I personally feel that this will be a more holistic and more well-paced learning experience especially for secondary school. I think that's the experience more or less going to be the same, but for JC I think it's going to make a super large difference for JC.
So just for your info, do you know that the original A-level syllabus was meant for a 3 year program?
Right? The 3-year program.
It was actually a 3-year program, but I think when it came to Singapore, we have shortened it into a 2-year program. You're condensing 36 months into 24 months instead from there.
Yeah.
So I think many a times, even for my O-level students who naturalize into JC, they struggle over the 2 years, because actually you minus away your IP, your project work, you minus away your holidays, you minus away your prep. I think it's less than 1.5 years for the whole A-level program. And the tenacity that's needed to go through the rigor of A-level is very different from O-level. So I felt like, a 3-year for schools with that degree of 6 years, the autonomy, it will be much more beneficial. All right, but having said that itself, there are some other sentiments on the ground for IP and O-level students. So some of my students that come from mixed schools that have IP and O-level, okay, I have a few things to talk about. I feel like for the O-level students, sometimes they share tutors with the IP stream, meaning that this tutor actually teaches IP as well as O-level. And because of that, there is a certain degree whereby the IP tutors might just
overteach
the O-level students, only to tell them that, actually this you don't need to care. Or they might be duplicating materials, only to say like, okay, this part you don't need to care because it's IP only. So I think the O-level students might feel like they are a byproduct. It's like, the IP do this, then all the others, you come to you just remove all these things. And to further, widen the sentiments between the IP and O-level, the O-level students usually have a pacing that's much faster than IP students. All right, because it's a very targeted regimen. I need to clear this, I need to clear this, I need to clear this, I need to prep. And because of that, most of my O-level students do actually lament that their IP counterparts, they're actually dismissed from school.
They're having fun, and then like doing all sorts of weird and wonderful projects, right? Yeah.
So have you ever had IP students that didn't meet their certain GPA cut and they were forced to downgrade?
As mentioned, I used to teach in an IP school. So what happened was that there is a class that is just catered for people to get a way out of the IP system. Because if let's say you don't meet the requirements for IP, right? If let's say you flunk out of the IP totally, then or if let's say they just promote you go to A-level, then you fail your A-level, then essentially the best cert that you have is your PSLE.
That's a common argument that
so,
if you...
Typically for every IP school, there will be one class for just for O-levels, where they will force the students to take the O-level if their IP grades do not make the cut. So at least this gives them a way out to go either consider other JCs or go poly. Poly. Yeah. So I think this is a good sentiment, but then it becomes like, you're taking O-level, then now you're second grade.
You're not the cool kid.
You're not the cool kid anymore. You become like the outcast, of the entire
So I do have IP students that's this way, and then the stigmatization that they feel is actually quite debilitating. All right, they feel like, I'm no longer there, I cannot make it, and also
I think most schools now they run both programs. Right, or a good number of IP schools now run two sides, like let's say CEDA, Victoria, Cat High, SCGS, and St. Nick's, right? They run because they're running both programs, and both programs are held with equal status. I think there is no stigma if let's say you have decided to go from IP to O-level. I think they will also offer you pathways to go from O-level to IP. I'm not that one. I'm not 100%
sure. This is rather enlightening, because I have students that comes from a certain secondary school whereby doing Gaohua is a norm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when their Gaohua is so terrible,
they do normal Chinese,
they do
right?
Puhua only, right? Wow. To them, they felt like, wow,
Yeah,
I got downgraded.
I've been downgraded.
Yeah,
These are
downgraded.
all the SAP schools, like.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I think another thing to really mention here is that what if the JC that I'm supposed to funnel into at the end of my 4 year in IP, what if I don't like that JC? Do I have a say? Can I go to some other JC instead?
I don't think so. I really don't think so.
So your path is kind of like...
Your path is fixed, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you suddenly pander towards a certain course that only a polytechnic offers, too bad. You have to still go to...
Yeah, I think you have to go to...
Unless you go to JC,
no,
then you
but
drop out.
I think you have to opt. Let's say you want to go poly, right? You change your mind. I think you have to opt to take O levels. Like you have to. There is a path, lah. I think there will be a path.
Okay, I'm going to ask you something juicy. Okay, just for the sound bites over here. So, I have known of many students, all right, whose PSLE score doesn't suggest that they can enter into IP schools, lah.
Yes.
I don't know if you know where I'm going into.
Yes.
But they have a certain set of skills that will benefit certain CCAs.
DSA, right?
Yes.
So they DSA into the IP program, yes.
So there has been this long-standing, but that when I have IP students that comes to me, and then straight away, I'm only human, all right. So there will be a construct over that. Okay, this student probably know his or her stuff, so that in Chinese hua long dian jing. I just need to teach a bit, right? Wow, the whole picture should have already been opened by that, but. When I teach these few students, it just felt like, wow, this is so laborious. Like I thought that you will be able to be grasping the concept pretty
because
quickly.
you're IP.
Because you're IP student. So after I teach and teach, I realized that, hey, this is not working out. Then usually there is sentiments in my mind is that, do you DSA into the IP school instead? All right. And sometimes just to test my theory, I will ask, what's your CCA? Then I ask, do you DSA? Then they say yes. So I felt like this is actually very, very, for me, I feel it's very unethical. Because let's say you're a great athlete, you're a great sportsman, all right? You enter the school via DSA, you're sort of like sign on for 6 years already, right? Especially if it's a 6-year program school.
Yeah.
All right? And I was in rugby last time. So there's a few JCs that is very well known for rugby. All right, and I do know of some of the rugby players over there.
They retain, is it?
They retain. And they retain not because I just want to help the school for 1 minute. It's because that they just can't make it past the J1 promo.
Yes.
And some of these friends of mine, they will say that actually the school benefits from that. Because they can play the ADIV Cup 1 more year for them. So I felt like, the schools might be angering this for personal glory and all, but this is at the expense of the individual progressing in their life.
But I do know that for these IP schools, that especially the secondary side, I'm not too sure about the JC side. Like if you DSA into an IP school, there are some schools, right, which actually cater, like you are the sports class. You are the IP sports class, and they will dedicate a smaller student to teacher ratio.
Okay.
So there'll be more teachers for fewer students.
Yeah, we did teach some of these students from CEDA before, right?
Yes.
But I just feel like if you DSA into O-level schools, I feel it is okay. It's still the O-level track. Because generally, this is the mass populace, the kind of support they get.
Yes.
But if you DSA into like IPIB, you DSA into NUS High School Diploma, you DSA into IP A-level, which all these courses are generally catered for students that performs above average of their peers. But you DSA into it, then it feels like there's a miscarriage of the programs, you see. Because I'm catering to someone who learns a little bit faster and better, but you're coming in here, are you coming in here for the prestige?
Yes.
Or you know what I'm trying to say?
I really don't think people will DSA into NUSH by sports, right? I think NUSH is not too interested in the IPIB. Okay, I mean, if any of you are from NUS High, you can feel free to share. So I'm going to share what I personally feel is a bit of a hot take. Okay, when it comes to nation building, I think that IP is not a good thing. Right? This is a con to me.
Okay.
Right. So for IP, because the thing is, because for the students that actually do make it to IP, they're locked into this particular system for 6 years. And there is no mobility, there's no mixing around of the students. Like I know students from let's say Dunman High or River Valley. We've thought of quite a number of these school students before. They see the same faces for for all these few years. The pretty girl or handsome boy, right? They see for 6 years,
Yep.
right? Personally, because you're locked into this system for 6 years, there is less mobility for people to enter and people to exit.
Okay.
So what happens is that you end up with a little bit of
You're seeing the same faces.
enclave, yeah. You end up with a little bit of an enclave. So I personally don't think that this is right. So if let's say, like from a more social standpoint, right? Let's say that I'm a rich person, okay, and then my kid, I want my kid to enter to an IP school. I basically pump a lot of money into tuition, hiring private tutors, right? And I give my kid the advantage so that they score a very fantastic PSLE score, then makes it into one of the IP schools.
Which probably have like-minded parents sending the kids to the same schools as
exactly.
well, right? Yeah.
So essentially, this benefits the rich people more, I feel. And this, of course, will widen the access or prevent access of maybe deserving but less well-to-do families to what is perceived to be an elite school.
Then if it's this case here, then let me do another proposal. Why not, if all schools are similar caliber and all, we just randomize and give students balloting and just go to schools that's randomly around them, since everyone is the same, right?
So people have suggested this, right, to scrap PSLE in the most recent GE. Yeah.
So, and we are, I mean, that's why National Service, this is a very, very far shot from here. National Service is actually a very good melting
equalizer,
point. Yeah,
right?
you bring everyone in and then you melt them together.
That is the great equalizer. But I think students need to step beyond their social bubble, and then as they grow up, they need to be able to see like, oh, okay, my friend, I may be, my father may be driving a Bentley, but my friend's father is a taxi driver, you know? Yeah, okay. So that's I think that's important for people to see.
It builds empathy and humility. Yep. All right. So I think for today, whatever we have taught on the IP, I feel like the general sentiments on the student perspective is, I feel IP shouldn't be seen as a form of elitism. All right. I mean that everyone is different. Everyone has a different IQ, different EQ, and there are some programs that pander to students who learn faster. And I think that O-level, it's not pandering to students who learn slower, but it basically panders towards the general population itself from there. But my main gripe, if I didn't mention enough here, is that I feel like you are pulling down things from year 5 and year 6, all right? Otherwise, JC1 and JC2, you pull it down to the secondary level, they don't have the maturity to actually follow through. And also, the pacing of the programs itself, for those 6-year program, I did mention it's better if you can split into a 3-3 itself of a 4-2, so that you spend a bit more time in A-level, which is more critical because that is literally the only cert you will get after PSLE, right?
Yes.
Because there isn't an O-level equivalent of that. And lastly, also the maybe it's a little bit irresponsible to DSA into an IP school. You know, I mean, if you can DSA into O-level school, why do you need to DSA into IP school? Then it kind of feels like you want the label that I am in an IP school itself out there, and then you sign on for 6 years. And you know, if you're a sportsman, good, all right. And if there's dedicated sports tutors that is like, you know, given to you to help you, I think that's fine. But are those resources very, very scarce as well? I can't really see a need for you to DSA into an IP school. You know? What about yourself?
Right. So I don't know. I personally feel that there was a certain period of time where like you've heard my opinion already, right? I generally dislike this whole concept of the IP. I mean, how the IP system is being executed at this point in time. Now, I'm okay, and as far as how it benefits the individual students, I think there is some benefit to be gained, and in terms of adding value to individual students, and of course it depends on each individual IP programs as well. But yeah, from a nation building perspective, I personally don't feel that this is such a good thing because once again, you form your enclaves, and then after that you breed like elitism within these enclaves as well. So students don't get to see. In the past, when we were doing O-levels, right, somebody from, let's say, some neighborhood secondary school can make it into RI, right? But I think because most of these RI places, or like at least half of the places in RI are now being blocked off by the IP students already, who have had the advantage of maybe well-to-do parents like that were willing to
pump money
for them for tuition and not for all them in during the primary school phase, right? Then yeah, I think this is not fair to people at to people from like the sort of neighborhood secondary schools lah. I think in the past, O level really used to be another great equalizer. Great equalizer. But now I think like it's less so lah. The effect of O levels is less so. I think there is progress in terms of like the social awareness. I think there was a period of time where a lot of schools were just jumping on the bandwagon, the IP bandwagon. You know? They were like, oh, we have our IP program, we have our IP program. So everybody was trying to be a little bit more elite, you know. But I think over time, even the IP schools are starting to realize that, hey, actually, we have to cater more spaces to the O-level students. We have to come up with a good O-level program as well. So I think schools like CEDA, SCGS, St. Nick's, MGS, your VS, and Cat High, right, that run this IP program and O-level program side by side, without any labeling to say that, oh, the IP is more atas versus the O-level is less atas, you know. I think this is the right way, and I believe traditionally pure IP schools, I believe last time Dunman High and River Valley were exclusively IP. Yes. So when you go to the JC, right, you will find, I think there were cases of, let's say, the odd student, one student or two students making it into the DHS or RV by JAE. But this one is really after like I don't know, must write letter, that kind, to make it in. But now I think DH and RV have opened up like more JAE places.
I think it helps to try to like melt people a little bit more.
Yes. I think increasingly parents and schools are realizing that, hey, actually need to cater more to the O-level. Mix a little bit. So I feel that this is a good direction that we should be taking lah. But I mean overall I feel that IP is here to stay. So I don't foresee this being or I don't foresee the ministry like overhauling and they say like, no, we'll scrap IP altogether or coming up with something new, you know, to replace the IP system.
But would there be eventually a merit in skipping O-level totally for the nation? You know, straight away everyone just
do A-level, right?
Just A-level or through train to diploma or something like that.
I think that will be even worse, right? Correct. I think that will be even worse in terms of breeding elitism, right? I do not think that this is the way to go lah. I don't think this is the way to
okay. Yeah. So, what do you think about today's topic about IP, TakChek or PekChek?
To me, once again, because of I told you, I made it very, very clear.
Yeah,
in general, I dislike the IP, the IP system. Okay, so to me, I feel that this is a very PekChek thing, like having to manage two different sets of curricula. The O-level as well as the IP. I think this is a me problem as well, and this is a problem that we have to deal with as a business. But it's not just that, right? Like I do think like from the student perspective, having to manage the expectations of the schools as well as their parents as well as their friends. Be it whether or not from the O-level track or the IP track, I think this is something which is like it adds another layer of complexity to their lives, which I think would have been very much simpler if everybody had just been O-level.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
For me, it's PekChek, definitely. All right. The main gripe I have over here is that again reiterating, some kids are really not suited to learn a year 5, year 6 item when they are year 3 or year 4. Yes. It's just because the maturity is just not there. And and I feel like it's like asking them to fly before they learn how to walk. Yeah. It's like asking them to learn advanced.
Their calculus when they are K2 or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, they are bright for their level, all right, but certainly not mature enough to appreciate what is being taught at higher level.
Yeah.
And I think for our industry as a tuition provider, we have workarounds for that. But if I'm coming in from the position of the student, does this benefit their learning? Does this cast any doubts that they have on the syllabus? Say that, oh, you mean biology is like that at JC? I don't want to do already. You know, I feel like if you expose them to the horrors too early, you kill off the passion at a very, very early stage.
Yeah.
For that's my general sentiments that I have towards IP. And also just answering to you as well as the whole enclave thing that you have mentioned. All right, so if you're all very much stuck together in your, is cronies the word to use over here? You're stuck together with all the people that is just very like-minded like you. Yeah, I think that then there's a reduced breadth and depth in terms of how you perceive society to be. You think everyone around is going to be like that.
Exactly.
Itself from there. All right. So we want to hear from the listeners. I mean, if you have parents that have sent your schools to IP, something to add over here is, before I end this off, is that if you're going to DSA into IP schools, I do really hope that it's because it's nearer to you. You save time to travel, but not so much of that labeling that, you know, I'm an IP student, you know, as well from that. So if any of the parents have sent their kids for IP schools, have you realized that the kind of difficulties that they are facing, is it more on the education, more on them feeling a bit stressed because they're learning a little bit ahead of their peers? And also for parents, I also want to hear that, is sending your kids to IP school really like sort of like an achievement? Like you want to send them there because of whatever kind of label that you get from them? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.